people ask me, Engelo, you quit school at the age of 14. You can't type. Your grammar sucks. Your math is even worse. How the hell are you an owner of a multi-million-dollar real estate investment company? You wear flip-flops. You never wear a suit. You wear these stupid caps. Your clothes are torn up, right? You don't shave, and it's the truth.
This is The Entrepreneur Way with Neil Ball. Unlocking the secrets of successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball. Napoleon Hill said the power of the mastermind is the driving force. To discover how you can unlock the potential in your business using the power of a mastermind, go to mastermindunlimited.com. And now, here is your host, Neil Ball.
Hello everybody, it's Neil Ball here. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Entrepreneur Way. The Entrepreneur Way is about the entrepreneur's journey. The vision, the mindset, the commitment, the sacrifice, failures and successes. I am so excited to bring you our special guest today, Engelo Rumora. But before I do, I've got a little bit of trivia for you. Neil deGrasse Tyson said, "No one is dumb who is curious. The people who don't ask questions remain clueless throughout their lives." The Entrepreneur Way asks the questions so we all get the insight, inspiration and ideas to apply in our businesses. Engelo, welcome to the show. Are you ready to share your version of the Entrepreneur Way with us?
I sure am, Neil, and guess what? I already know that I'm going to be your best guest to date.
Well, it's great to hear that, and welcome to the show. Engelo is a successful property investor, motivational speaker, and soon-to-be author that quit school at the age of 14, played professional soccer at 18, and built a property portfolio valued at over $1 million in only 6 months. Engelo, can you please provide us with some more insight into your business and personal life to allow us to get to know more about what you do and who you are?
Sure, Neil. Well, first of all, I would like to say go Arsenal, okay? So everyone listening, I want them to know that I'm an Arsenal supporter, all righty? Mate, mate, yeah, look, so I quit school at the age of 14, and the reason why I quit school at the age of 14 was I've been playing soccer since the age of 5, okay, or football, okay, and I was very, very fortunate that at the age of 14 I got a youth contract, and that kind of, enabled me to quit school, and I hated school, believe it or not, and I had to move to another city to start training twice a day, and really focusing on football and trying to reach that elite level. Mm-hmm. I was very fortunate to reach that elite level at the age of 18. I played professional soccer in Hong Kong for a team called Wufu Taipo. I played there for 8 months. And, unfortunately, things didn't really work out. I went back to Australia not having any formal education, mate, it was very hard to find any job. I don't want to go into too much depth in regards to why I did not continue trying to play soccer at a professional level. There was just too many things going on at the time. And just long story short, I didn't see it as a feasible option moving forward, where by the age of 30, I would be able to secure my financial future and the financial future of my loved ones. So I just decided to hang up the boots, man, and start looking for, alternate options and another future for myself and my loved ones. And, not having any formal education, mate, when I returned back to Australia, I was like, at a standstill. What next? Where do I go now? What do I do? And the only job that I could get, mate, was a job on a dirty construction site. Okay, I was working as a laborer, sweeping floors, collecting trash, and all of that fun stuff for a good 3 years. And the life-changing moment for me came, mate, when I was given a book. I know that a lot of your listeners have read this book. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And this book, mate, it absolutely freaking brainwashed me to start thinking about, assets and liabilities and just business, finance, real estate in a complete different way. So what happened, mate, is I found that I transitioned from this huge passion that I had for soccer for many, many years. I transitioned that passion to anything and everything business related, stocks, real estate, starting a company. I mean, you name it. I was completely, immersing myself in going to seminars, going to conventions, attending events, talking to people, networking with people. I mean, reading books. I did it all. And then what happened, mate, is I got a job, a much better job than what I had as a laborer. It was with this real estate investment company in Australia. They were this particular fellow. He was a very young guy, and right now he's got a $100 million business there, and he's one of the most successful real estate investors in the country. So I managed to get a job with him after being very, very persistent for a good 6 months, and I got through the door, and I worked as his apprentice, mate. And he literally gave me the foundations to the real estate investor and entrepreneur that I am today. Right? So from finding deals to negotiating with sellers, to negotiating with buyers, to working with realtors, to working with contractors. I mean, as I said, he gave me the foundations of me being the real estate investor that I am today. So worked for him for a good year and a half, mate. Did really well. And I always wanted to venture out on my own. I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset and just, wanting independence, wanting to do things however the hell I want to do them. I didn't want to be micromanaged. I wanted the freedom, to start my own business and to, really make things happen and to leave a legacy, right? And I was building my real estate portfolio in Australia at the time. I bought quite a lot of properties in a short amount of time, Neil. I caught the attention of a lot of media outlets there because I was this young kid, had a portfolio worth over $1 million. And everyone was singing my name in praise, even though, Neil, they had no clue that I was actually losing money every single month on the mortgage repayments on all of my properties, right? Because I was utilizing a strategy that a lot of people here in America were utilizing before the global financial crisis, right? I was buying high, refinancing, using that equity to put it into another deal and hoping that these properties are going to appreciate in value. So I quickly woke up and smelt the roses. I knew that continuing to go down this path of hoping that my portfolio is going to go up in value is a recipe for disaster because I was losing money every single month. I was having to put my hand in my own pocket to cover costs. I started looking at other investments that would actually put money in my pocket, right? They say if cash is king, then cash flow must be queen. So the only other market, Neil, that I could find that was absolutely at rock bottom was America. God bless America, right? So I as I said, man, I woke up and smelt the roses. I figured out that what I was doing in Australia, building this large portfolio, getting into a ton of debt, losing money on my monthly mortgage repayments was not a sustainable way moving forward. And mate, I decided to pack my bags, grab everything I had, leave everything and everyone I've ever known behind, and I moved to this beautiful country. And mate, I've been here for 4 years right now. I've got a multi-million-dollar real estate investment company. We're spread across 2 offices here in Ohio. We've got 10 full-time staff. And mate, I'll tell you this, I am so freaking excited with what the future holds. I'm about to jump out of my chair right now. So there's the long version.
Okay.
So how about you start bombarding me with questions now?
Oh, I'm definitely going to do that. So what is it you do? What are you doing now then that's different to what you did before? Because obviously you were relying on capital appreciation on your properties previously and hoping that would all work out fine in the end, which obviously all went wrong in 2008, 2009. So what is it you do differently now?
Great question, mate. Now, look, just to touch on that, it went wrong for all of the people here in the US. It didn't really go wrong for me because I was building my portfolio after the global financial crisis, and Australia didn't really get affected with what happened here in the US. I mean, here you had property prices go from $100 to $20, literally an 80% decline in some markets. So just wanted to clear that up. But mate, look, what I changed and what I started doing here is quite simple. I started focusing on the actual numbers in the deal. Okay, so what I mean by that is when you purchase a property, you know what your income is and you also know what your expenses are. And then once you calculate your expenses, you're going to achieve a net figure. okay? Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, if cash is king, then cash flow must be queen. And what I mean by that is, why do people invest in real estate? People invest in real estate to supplement the current income that they're getting from a job that they do not want to be working in, okay? Mm-hmm. So you want to be getting $5, $10, $15, $20,000 every single month in cash flow, in passive income, to start living life on your terms, to do what you want, where you want, and when you want. Mm-hmm. Now, when I started my journey as a real estate investor in Australia, I did not focus on cash flow. I was focusing on hope. I was focusing on predictions that my properties are going to go up in value more than what I was actually losing on my monthly mortgage repayments. And mate, this is a very, very, very bad idea, Neil. No one has a crystal ball. We can't predict what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. Why the hell would we predict what's going to happen in the next year, 2, 5, or 10 years, right? Yep. So I just completely shifted. I stopped focusing on capital appreciation. I just started looking at the numbers in the deal as they are today. Mm-hmm. So if I'm buying a property and that property, after all expenses are taken into consideration, is putting $5,000 per year in cash flow in my pocket, well, that's a freaking awesome investment, right? And then it just comes down to, how many of these properties do I need to buy and add to my portfolio before I reach a cash flow figure that I can live life on my terms, and then I can help my loved ones live life on their terms, and all of my friends too, right? Yeah. So that is what I did differently. That is how I shifted, my mindset and my endeavors as a real estate investor.
Okay. Alrighty. And do you buy these properties for yourself?
I do.
Yeah.
I actually started building my own portfolio again rapidly this year. For the last couple of years, we were solely focusing on investors. Yep. So what our bread and butter business model is we buy rundown distressed properties, we fix them up to a great standard, we get them tenanted with our in-house property management, and then we sell them to investors. We work with a lot of investors here in the US, East Coast, West Coast. We've got a lot of investors from the UK, Canada, Australia. We've recently expanded into Asia. So pretty much investors that like to work with us are folks that, they cannot find cash flow in their current markets due to how expensive the market is. And I'll give you a little bit of an example. Mm-hmm. Here in Ohio, a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property, we sell them for anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000. Okay, and they've all been renovated. They're all tenanted, and they're getting a cash flow of around $800 to $1,000 per month in rent. So approximately a 10% net return on investment, right? So a lot of investors get caught up in these figures because they're amazing returns, and they're returns that you literally can't find anywhere else in the world or in any other investment vehicle. And we completely take out the headache of managing these properties. So a lot of investors come to us and they buy these properties from us. And I've been so busy over the last couple of years meeting the demand of all of these other investors that I didn't have any time to focus on my own portfolio. But I decided to be a little bit selfish this year, and I've already bought 3 properties for my portfolio this year, and I'm intending to buy another 25 until the end of the year for my personal portfolio.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about 10% net, that's net of mortgage payments, net of management costs, net of any other costs that are related to it. Is that what you're saying when you say 10% net?
Yeah, I'm not including mortgage repayments. So most of our investors are cash buyers. When they purchase these properties with cash, I'm including property management fees. I'm including the annual city taxes that you have to pay here in the US. I'm including the insurance that you have to pay on the property. And I'm including any calculations for maintenance and vacancy. So it's always going to be around the 10% net. Of course, I'm throwing a disclaimer out there. There are sometimes unforeseen circumstances that do happen, which kind of, lower that cap rate. Or net yield, as we like to say in Australia. But, it just depends on the year and depends on the property too. Okay. Alrighty?
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. So what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Wow, mate, great question. What do I enjoy most about what I do? Mate, look, it's my passion, Neil. It's my passion. And, as I mentioned, I had a huge passion for football, and it was my whole life, mate. I lived it. I breathed it. I mean, my whole freaking life evolved around football, and I replaced that passion for business, for entrepreneurship. What we're doing here right now, you and me doing this podcast, is my passion. It's what I love doing. I love talking about who I am, where I've been, what I've done, what I'm doing now, and where I'm going. And, someone might get inspired by my journey, and it just might get them on the right path and get them to where they need to be. I love giving. I know it sounds corny, but I love giving more than I like receiving. So, for example, with business and with real estate, if I can write a bonus check to some of my employees, there's no better feeling than that. I would rather give than receive anything from them. So, when I started my journey as a real estate investor, it was more about me. It was more about how can I build my portfolio? How can I, get financial freedom? But then when you start, becoming bigger, and when you start building more traction, when your business starts getting, greater, it kind of changes. It changes from it being about you to it being about everyone else, right? And it's just amazing. And it's amazing how this transition happens, Neil, but that is what I believe entrepreneurship is about. That is what I believe a genuine and true entrepreneur should be doing. It shouldn't be about him. It should be about everyone else besides him.
And what is it that drives you?
Mate, my biggest drivers are my family. Okay, my biggest drivers are my family right now. I'm just looking at their photos right above my desk. They push me to sit my ass in the office here every morning and to not leave for at least 12 hours. I need to secure their financial future. I need them to start living life they want to be living life. Then, of course, myself too. I mean, I can't help anyone else unless I help myself first. So I want to start living life on my terms. I want to create this great business that's going to have 50 full-time employees, and that's going to, make it it's going to be a sustainable business where all of these folks will be able to support their loved ones for many, many years to come. Once I achieve those particular targets, of helping out myself, helping out my family, creating this grand business, then it's about leaving a legacy. And that is something bigger and greater than myself, than my family, and this business and everyone associated with it. It's about, once everything is said and done, mate, and I'm 6 feet under, my last name is going to be on a hospital, not Trump Towers, but on a hospital, mate. And when I'm gone, when there's no more Engelo Rumora, something is going to last forever, and it's going to be there to continue helping others for a long time.
Well, that's a great dream. How do you relax when you're not working in your business?
I can't. That's one thing that mate, that's one thing that I need to get better at, Neil. I can't relax. I can't leave the phone alone. I can't leave the laptop alone. I'll tell you this, mate, there's only one place in the world where I can switch off, and that's the Bahamas. So I'm looking at buying a house there here in the very near future. So I can duck away for a couple of days a month and just completely switch off, because it's important, mate. Switching off from the day-to-day life is very important.
Absolutely. It really is important, that, because it fuels your ideas, doesn't it? If you can take time out sometimes. So it's almost immeasurable.
100%, mate.
It's almost unmeasurable, the benefits it can actually have for you. So do you have any entrepreneurial role models?
I do, mate. Gary Vaynerchuk is someone that I very, very much look up to. He's freaking awesome, and I just wish that I had his energy, mate. It's impossible to keep up with what he's doing. I mean, I stalk him on Snapchat. I stalk him on Facebook. I mean, you name it, I stalk this guy, and it's just incredible how much he hustles.
Yeah, he's a great guy. In fact, someone else said him in one of my last interviews. So can we just talk about the time before you were an entrepreneur? Because obviously you sort of alluded to what happened before in your introduction. What difficulties did you have to overcome when you started your business?
Mate, that's a great question. Look, I guess the biggest difficulties before I started my business was, no one really takes you seriously, mate. Look, I'm only 28 years old, and when I started my business, I was only 24, you know what I mean? And everyone was like, who's this young punk, going around talking about real estate, talking about stocks, believing in this big dream. I mean, he's a nobody. He's a little schmuck. So the biggest, hurdle there was getting people to take you seriously. I'm still young, but I write all of the checks now, Neil, so everyone takes me seriously.
Okay.
Right? When you start writing the checks and paying people, no matter how young you are, they start to take you seriously.
If you're at a stage where people didn't take you seriously, and you've got to a stage where they do because you write the checks, how did you fill that void? How did you make that jump across that gap?
Mate, great question. I just ignored them. I ignored them. I let it go in one ear and out the other, and I hustled. I hustled every single day. I mean, you can't get caught up in the noise. And that is something that I always tell myself, forget about what everyone else is saying. Some will like you, some will hate you. And I like to say, hate it or love it, Engelo Rumora is always on top. And that's what I tell myself. So, just don't get caught up in the noise. Well, and the sad thing about it, Neil, is all of these people that are going to bring you down are going to be your closest loved ones. That's the crazy thing about it. It's because it's not because they want your harm, but it's because they're scared. They don't want you to fail. They don't want you to do anything risky. Well, risky in their mind, right? Because people these days are just caught up in that old stereotypical stigma. You've got to work a 9 to 5. You've got to go to college. You've got to, get a degree. You've got to get a good job. You've got to buy a house. You've got to get a mortgage. You've got to get married. And then you drop dead. Boom. What a shit life, mate. So, unfortunately, as I said, a lot of people are caught up in that stigma, the stereotypical way, and don't get caught up in the noise. Don't allow it to affect you. Don't allow it to bring you down. Keep moving forward. Believe in the bigger picture. Stay true to what you're good at. Focus on your strengths, outsource your weaknesses, and just keep moving forward. No matter how many times they punch you and knock you down, pick yourself back up and keep moving forward. And that's what I did, mate. And, here we are today.
I saw something the other day that said safe is risky. And I think it is, isn't it? I think what people think is safe is actually more risky than what people think is risky sometimes.
Mate, Steve Jobs said, if you know where you're going to end up one day, nothing is risky, right? Yep. And where are we going to end up, Neil? We're going to end up 6 feet under. So if you can actually accept that as a reality, then what's risky? You cannot take any wealth with you. You are going to end up in the same place and me that some homeless man will, or that Bill Gates will.
Yep.
So nothing is risky, mate. I mean, live life to the fullest, try new things, and mate, I always like to say, it doesn't matter how many times you're wrong, mate. It really doesn't. As long as you're right once, and that once counts.
Yeah,
would anyone ask, let's say Mark Zuckerberg, he had 100 business ideas, for example, and 99 of those business ideas failed. And he failed, tremendously failed. But one idea was a Facebook. Boom, there you go. So it doesn't matter how many times he was wrong, because he was right once, and that once counted.
Absolutely.
Right? So keep trying. No matter how many times you fail, keep trying.
Yeah. And did you have any doubts that delayed you starting your business?
Of course, mate. I mean, look, I'm fortunate enough that I was able to master my own emotions, right? They say one that conquers himself can conquer all. So you always have doubts. Your mind is always playing tricks with you. So when I say don't get caught up in the noise of what everyone else is saying, I'm also going to say right now, don't get caught up in the noise of what your own mind is telling you. I mean, you're always going to have this fear of taking that leap of faith and jumping over the edge into the unknown. But if you do not take that chance, mate, you will never know, right? If another little quote there, if you never go, you will never know. So just do it, go for it, and deal with the consequences. Try and accept. In your mind, I'm going to get a little bit philosophical here, mate.
Go for
Try
it.
and accept in your mind that every experience is a good experience, no matter how bad it is. Okay, I'll repeat that. Every experience is a good experience, no matter how bad it is. So breaking that down a little bit, I can kind of describe it as you can find something positive no matter how crappy the experience was. There's something positive from that experience. And it could be you've lost a ton of money in a particular transaction. Okay, well, the positive out of that experience is that you're never going to lose that money making those same mistakes again, because you've just made them now. So take that with you and let that carry you and let that push you forward. Okay?
Yeah, that's great advice. And what mistakes did you make that slowed your journey?
Quite easy, mate. Trusting the wrong people. Trusting the wrong people, Neil. It's never the numbers in a particular real estate transaction that are going to cost you money. It is never the profitability of a business venture that's going to cost you money. It is the people, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Lying, stealing, cheating, dishonest, greedy people. And in my business practices, and what I always advise everyone is focus on the people first before you look at anything else.
Okay, great advice there. And what are some of the things that you did before you started your business that would be helpful tips for some of the listeners who haven't yet taken their first step on the entrepreneur way?
Mate, great question. Look, before I started Ohio Cashflow, I literally had 50 plus things on the to-do list that I had to execute on. Yep. And I'm a big to-do list guy. I mean, if you look at my office walls right now, it resembles a scene from A Beautiful Mind by Russell Crowe. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I've got whiteboards everywhere. I've got little, sticky notes everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm a big believer in to-do lists. And before you look at starting any venture, business, or whatever it may be, you have to set out a plan of attack, and you have to have certain things written out on what you need to execute on before you can actually start that business and get going. Mm-hmm. And some of it could be, establish the company. Other things could be, create a website, create business cards, create a logo, get insurances for your business. I mean, all of these little minor things that whatever comes to mind, jot it down and make sure that you implement everything before you actually, establish your company. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can go into a ton of depth here. I know we don't have that much time, but that would probably be my biggest tip to everyone is, put down a list of things that you need that will assist you in getting this business up and running. No matter how long that list is, just start executing on it as quickly as you can and as efficiently as possible.
Okay, thank you for that. Can we now talk about your entrepreneurial journey a bit more, Engelo? Do you think that culture is important from the beginning in a business?
Mate, look, I do, and I know we touched on this a little bit before the interview, mate, and yep. Look, right now we've got 10 full-time staff, and to be honest with you, I don't think that we really have a culture within the company. Now, how I see a culture within a business would be when we get someone new on board, we always try and share the bigger picture and vision with them, right? We want to get them to be excited about where we're going and what we're doing. But look, we've grown at such a rapid pace, Neil, that it's kind of hard to establish a culture within our company because we went from a little shitty desk to a 200 square foot office, then 1,000 square foot office, and now we've got 2,000 square foot offices in two different cities, and we're looking for a 5,000 square foot office. So it's still kind of very early days for us. I think that once we actually move into this bigger office, once we start getting the building heavily branded, once we start getting the interior heavily branded, once we kind of are in business for a little bit longer, once we add more staff to the company, then I think we can start working on having this culture, having people, know who we are, know what we do, know our style, know how loud and proud we are with our branding. And I think that, I think it's very important. And I'll tell you this, I'm looking forward to having this awesome hype and buzz as soon as I walk through that front door of our big headquarters.
Sounds great. Knowing what you know now, is there anything that if you'd known it when you started would have helped you to shortcut the learning curve?
Yes, I would have been more patient. I wouldn't have jumped in as quickly as I did. I lost a lot of money, Neil. I got burnt very badly, mate. So I would have been more patient just in regards to real estate investing terms, not necessarily entrepreneurial. I was buying properties for the purpose of being able to call myself a real estate investor and entrepreneur, right? So I was investing because of the title that came associated with investing, which is stupid. It is ridiculous. Why the hell would you do that? So everyone out there that's listening that wants to start their own business, don't start a business just so you can tell everyone you're an entrepreneur. I mean, that's bullshit. That's not why you start a business. You start a business because of something that's bigger and better than yourself. It's bigger and better than money. It's not about you. It's about what you can leave behind once everything is said and done. That's why you should start a business, right? So, mate, I would have been more patient. I wouldn't have bought properties for the purpose of calling myself an investor and a real estate and an entrepreneur. I would have invested in those properties so I can really supplement the current income that I was getting from a job that I did not want to be working in. That's something that I could kind of, my tip to everyone would be is be more patient, pull back a little bit, do more due diligence, more so on the people that you're looking at working with rather than the profitability of the business or a particular transaction. Once you feel fully comfortable, take the leap of faith, jump in, and, as I mentioned, make sure that no matter what happens, you perceive every experience to be as a good experience and keep moving forward.
Okay. And how much does gut feeling influence your decisions in your business?
Every decision.
Okay.
Every decision. And whenever I didn't trust my gut, I was always wrong. And even when I do trust my gut, I'm wrong, right? But most of the time I'm right. And I love to go by gut instinct. Yeah. Absolutely love to go by gut instinct.
You must still look at the numbers, though, in what you do, surely.
Of course, yeah. Of course. I mean, you can't make a decision unless you do your preliminary due diligence.
Yeah.
But for example, for hiring people, yes, you do your background checks. Yes, you do their previous employment history. Yes, you review their application to see if what you're looking for fits within their previous experience. But then it just comes down to the gut feeling because, mate, when it comes to people, you always have to take a leap of faith. Yeah. And everyone looks great on paper, but once they actually move into the office and they start hammering out, you do not know. So you really have to take, you have to use your gut to make such decisions.
Yeah. Hire on skills and fire on attitude. I think that's what someone said to me the other day. I thought that was
love it, mate. I've actually got another one: hire slowly, fire quickly. Yeah. Yep.
Life is made of constant change, whether we like it or not. And in fact, some people would say that the only constant is change. Engelo, how do you try to keep up with change?
Well, mate, great question. How do I try to keep up with change? Look, I try to immerse myself in as many articles as I possibly can. It's really, really hard these days because as soon as I sit in the office here, I'm onto emails and phone calls and 25,000 different other things. I mean, it's like a circus, Neil. I've got two hands and I'm juggling 1,000 balls, right?
Yeah.
So look, I try and stay up to speed with all of the articles and I attend a lot of conventions, seminars, expos, and what I've set myself for this year is to do a lot more reading than what I did in the past year, and to brush shoulders with the biggest and best entrepreneurs in the country. So I've already got a few days planned this year to fly out into other cities to shadow a lot of these big wig entrepreneurs that are much bigger and greater than myself. And there's nothing better for me, mate, than to affiliate myself with people who are bigger and better and doing more things. Yep. So I'm very honored to have the privilege of being able to shadow them around. And that in itself, mate, is huge when it comes to keeping up to what the market is doing, what is new in the world, what changes are happening, right? Because these folks that I'm going to be brushing shoulders with, they're not in real estate now. They're in tech. They're in products. They're in venture capital. I mean, we're talking about $50 to $100 million companies here, right? So if anyone knows what the hell is going on in the market, I'll tell you what, mate, it's these guys. And I'm going to be right there with them for a day or two, stalking their every move. Okay. So that is something that I'm utilizing this year to keep up to speed with all of the changes that are happening in this very high-paced world we have.
So your stalking of these people that as you described it, is that because is your thinking behind that the sort of law of association? Is that what you're thinking there?
100%, mate. Look, I get a ton of questions every single day, Neil. People ask me, Engelo, you quit school at the age of 14. You can't type. Your grammar sucks. Your math is even worse. How the hell are you an owner of a multi-million-dollar real estate investment company? You wear flip-flops. You never wear a suit. You wear these stupid caps. Your clothes are torn up, right? You don't shave, and it's the truth, right? And mate, I always give them the exact same answer, Neil. Yeah. I asked questions of people who are where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Boom. How easy is that? Ask questions of people who are where you want to be.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to where I am, right? If you hang around bums and drug addicts, well, you're going to start doing drugs. If you hang around successful business owners and multimillionaires, well, you might not achieve their status, but I'll tell you what, you'll be a millionaire for sure because they drag you up. What they're doing, what they say, where they're going inspires you. It pulls you up with them, right? And that's what I have literally lived my life. How I've lived my life and what I've based my entrepreneurial and business endeavors on is, as you said, associating myself with others that are much more successful, talented, and better than I am.
Okay. And what is your favourite book on entrepreneurialism, business, personal development, leadership, or motivation? And can you tell us why you have chosen it?
Mate, look, my favorite book would have to be How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Mm-hmm. And look, just the tips in that book are freaking awesome, mate. I mean, for example, I'll just give you one tip that I've got on the top of my head right now, how smiling can make a huge difference, right? Smiling. When you walk into a room, smile. When you say hello to someone, smile, right? And these things will stay in people's minds. So, it's a great book. I highly recommend that everyone reads it, and for everyone reading it to really, really, really try and implement everything that the book preaches, because it will change your life, mate. I haven't read it in a while. I have to reread it again, but I know that as soon as I read that book and I started implementing the content within that book, I could see a huge shift in the people that I was talking to, the people I was working with, actually spending time and talking to people, asking, just speaking positively, just giving them good feedback, just motivating them in a way where I would say something nice to them. That smile is huge also, mate. So as I said, highly recommend everyone check that book out, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, it's an awesome book. I've read that. Everyone, when you have a busy life, listening to audiobooks is a great way to expand your knowledge in the time that you may be doing other things, such as driving or when you are at the gym. We have a special offer for you of a free audiobook of your choosing. To choose your free audiobook, go to www.freeaudiobookoffer.com. As long as you haven't already signed up, then you will qualify. Engelo, can we now move forward into the future a little bit and just speculate about a few different things? What one thing would you do with your business if you knew that you could not fail?
Wow, mate, you stumped me with that question. One thing that I would do if I could not fail.
Yeah.
Let me think, mate. How long do we have? You got a couple of minutes? No, I'm kidding, mate. Mate, I guess if I could not fail, what is one thing that I would do with my business?
Yeah.
I would venture into every single market I possibly could.
Yeah.
I would get as many people on board as possible. Right now, we've got Ohio Cashflow. I would start Michigan Cashflow. I would start Indiana Cashflow. I would literally start Cashflow in every single freaking state here in the US.
Yeah.
And I would bring on as many people on board as possible. And yeah, mate, that's it. I mean, I would want to be the biggest turnkey real estate investment company, not just in the country, but in the world.
Okay, that's a small goal, isn't it?
It is. It is, mate. There you go. Yeah, and literally, if I knew that I couldn't fail, I would start that right away. Yeah. I would not wait one single minute. I would literally start it right away.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What skill, if you were excellent at it, would help you the most to double your business?
Managing people.
Okay.
Managing people better. And that is something that I'm really working on myself. I want to have better leadership skills. I want to be more corporate, right? You know how I said I wear around flip-flops and I don't shave and I wear around these baggy hats and I look like crap most days, right? I'm not necessarily saying that I would clean that up. I'm just saying that I would want to be more corporate in my mentality. I find that I get too close to people and I'm too buddy-buddy with them, and that is not good. It's not good for business. You have to be, as we discussed before we started this podcast, mate, you have to take emotion out of decision-making. Mm-hmm. Neil, if you make your decisions based on emotion, you will lose money and you will get burnt. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to business, take all emotion out, put it aside, and just, look at the actual statistics, look at the actual figures in front of you, look at the actual descriptions that you're reading about a particular person. Of course, let your gut instinct do its thing, but never get too close, never get too buddy-buddy. They're the employee, you're the leader. You have to, there's a saying, how does it go? You have to go the way, show the way, and something else I can't remember right now.
I'll look that up. Okay, I haven't heard it. It sounds good, though.
I know. You have to know the way, go the way, and show the way.
Okay.
That's the one. Alrighty.
Awesome. What in 5 years from now, if a well-known business publication was publishing an article on your business after talking to your customers and suppliers, what would you like it to say?
Oh, wow. That's a good one, mate. The thunder from down under does it again. How about that one?
Oh, I've not had that before. Anything else?
The thunder from down under does it again, and wait, I've got one here. The real estate dingo taking over America.
Sounds good.
And I had to just make those up out of thin air, mate. If you gave me a little bit to think about, I would give you some awesome headings. But I think those two are good for now, mate.
Okay. We're now at the part of the show where you share your 3 golden nuggets. So, Engelo, what is your favourite quote and how have you applied it?
Make a passion an obsession, and you will never work a day in your life. Mate, I'm so passionate and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with everything I do, and I love what I do. And if you're not obsessed with what you're doing and you don't love what you're doing, stop and go find something that you love what you're doing, because there are too many tough times in life and in business and whatever it is that you're doing. And if you do not absolutely love what you're doing, you will not last. You'll quit. So you have to find something that you love and something that's a big passion.
And do you have a favourite online resource that you can share with us that would be useful?
I do, mate. HipChat. HipChat is a instant messaging app. Once you start having a few employees in the office, instead of everyone kind of talking to each other, just download the app and you can type to each other. You can send all different kinds of files, photos, links, all kinds of stuff. I think it's a great source for in-house communication within your company. HipChat is what it's called.
Thanks for that. And what is your best advice to other entrepreneurs?
Mate, best advice would have to be focus more on the people than anything else. And no matter how many times they knock you over, pick yourself back up and keep moving forward. Do not stop moving forward. Great quote by Martin Luther King. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, just keep moving forward.
Awesome quote. Everybody, if you didn't manage to get a note of Engelo's favourite resource or his favourite book, you can find the links on Engelo's show notes page. Just go to theentrepreneurway.com and search for Engelo or Engelo Rumora in the search box. Engelo, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business?
No, that's it, Neil. Look, it was an absolute pleasure, and thanks for your time, mate. And look, as you said, if people want to find out more about me, it's easy. They just have to Google my name or Google Ohio Cashflow. We're very loud and proud, and they can check us out. Always happy to help in any way, answer any questions. So, anyone that wants to chat to me, mate, they can definitely hit me up online.
Okay, well, Engelo, it's been a high-energy, fast-paced, enjoyable interview, and it's certainly been an honour having you on here. So thank you very much for sharing your insight and your experience and your views. So thank you.
Thanks, mate. Much appreciated.
You are welcome.
Thank you for listening to The Entrepreneur Way. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter @Neil D. Ball.